Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Revelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 13th of June 2016, and this is episode 183, Post Swim. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. It is so late in the day, so I don't know how lighting and stuff is going to go, but I woke up to the doorbell ringing with a little girl standing at my door. Two of Gabriel's best friends from down the street. They were staying with their grandma for a while and then they moved away. And so they're visiting their grandma today, and the people who live next door to their grandma have a pool that they don't use very frequently. So the grandma has a standing invitation to use it whenever she wants. So she invited us to go along with the two little girls, and so we swam for like 3 hours or something. I don't know, a very long time. I don't know if you can hear my dog making love sounds at me, but we were gone for 3 whole hours and she was desolate. So anyway, that's what all this is going on. My super wet hair from the swim, and that was really fun. This is the second time in the past week that we've gone swimming. My kids don't know how to swim. They're 5 and 7, and I feel like that's insane that they can't swim, because my grandparents had a pool, so we were just always in the pool. But we being my sister and myself. But yeah, my kids don't have that kind of pool exposure, so they don't know how to swim. Although my son is making pretty good strides forward. Every time we get in the pool, he's more confident, and he was fine in the deep end with a pool noodle. My daughter, not so much. Anyway, knitting. Let's talk about that. The Small Things Craft Along is going on still. It goes through the end of the month. I am going to draw a new winner, and I had to go up a jar size. I don't know if this will be big enough to get us through the rest of the month, but we'll see. The prizes are listed in the thread. If you are the winner, look at the prizes and send me a PM letting me know what you want. If it's a shippable thing, send me your address. If it's from someone else, send me first, and I'll get you in contact with that person. So the winner is Allison Roseboom. Allison, post 88 for a mitered square. So, Allison, let me know what you want, and I will get it to you fairly shortly after. I don't know. I try to be really good about staying on top of things, and I feel like I say this every week, but just life gets in the way. A week feels so short. I feel like I was just recording this a couple days ago instead of a week ago. So, I almost, see, this is why I have show notes, because I totally almost forgot. It is getting close to the third quarter of the year, so it's time again for you to decide which project bag I should open to make my next pair of socks. So I have this Green Flowers bag or this Zombie Sewn by Lindsay project bag. So which bag should I open to make my third quarter socks? And I know which one is in each of them, but you don't. And both options are really, really lovely for different reasons. So go vote, and on the first podcast in July, or maybe the last podcast in June, I'll open it and show you what I will be working on for the next quarter. Finished objects. I have a couple. I finished Cecilia's socks. So this is where they both were last week. Right here, I finished that section of ribbing and the cuff. And they are using Joanne Sensation Souls and More in purple, pink, gray. US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. And the picture that I have on Ravelry is actually them on my feet. So I could use this sock recipe to make tube socks for myself, which is kind of exciting because it's a much smaller stitch count than I would normally use. And they're 50, I think they're 56 stitch, no, maybe they're 52 stitch socks. They're 52 or 56 stitch socks. I think they're 56, but I usually do 60 stitch, but these fit fine. The bind off was a little bit tricky to get over my instep, but I managed. So yeah, these socks would fit me. And they're a decent length, so I might be making myself some tube socks because why not? What else? Anything else about these? I don't think so. I mean, I've made about 1,000 pairs of tube socks. So if you have watched my podcast for any length of time, you've seen a bunch of them. I also finished, this is way more exciting, my second quarter socks for me. So these are the Steampunkery by Heather Lee Walker. Here's one on the blocker with the button popped out. That's not very good. Ruins the whole line of buttons when one's popped out. Okay, so here they are. This section up here is knit flat. They're working buttons. It's a working button flap so that you can roll. We'll do it on this one. So you can take it apart and roll this cuff down if you want. Whatever you want. This is where I was last week. And I had talked maybe last week, maybe the week before, about doing a third pattern repeat because there was a pattern repeat on the leg and then I had made it through a pattern repeat on the foot. And I was thinking I was going to do a full third pattern repeat and then start the toe. I got about halfway through it and I was like, I should try these on just to be sure, to make sure that I need that third pattern repeat. So I tried them on and they were above the joint for my pinky toe. I was like, oh no, if I finish out the repeat, they're going to be way too long. So I didn't. Instead, I made it through about 3/4 of the pattern repeat. And I made some modifications because, as you can see on this diamond right here, these start coming out from this diamond. Well, I didn't do that on this diamond. I also did some decreases next to this cable on either side to bring in the stitches by my toes. So, so you can see that gradually goes together. And then instead of doing a short toe, because I could have done the third pattern repeat and done a short toe, but then it would have been really wide. And even though I have wide toes, I feel like it would have been too wide at that point. So then I just did a normal wedge type toe after the partial third repeat. Yeah, I've tried them on. They fit lovelily. They fit very nicely. I am looking forward to wearing them, although I will probably wait until it's not summer because my feet are going to get sweaty and I'm a little nervous about discoloring this sock yarn with my feet. I don't know. So, other people out there in the world, have you made white or cream colored socks and do they stain and stuff? Because I don't wear socks as house socks. I wear socks. I mean, I do wear them around my house, but then I also put them in my shoes and go to work with them. I don't have any just house socks. And these socks are so pretty, but I feel like I would still wear them to work. Am I going to destroy the color of the socks if I wear them to work? That is my question. I don't know. So I'm wondering. They're so pretty. I'm going to wear them. I'm just wondering if they're going to be like only on my days off type socks or if I'm still going to wear them to work because that would be pretty fancy treatment for them. I'm not worried about the yarn holding up. It's 716 knit, 716 sock in the Hell Hath No Fury Like a Woman Scorned for Sega colorway. And I know from personal experience that this sock yarn kicks butt. It's probably my favorite. I would say probably my favorite. So I know it'll hold up. I'm just worried about the color. I'm super excited about them though. They're so pretty. I feel so accomplished having knit these socks. These are not the most complicated socks I've ever knit, but I don't know. I'm so proud of these ones. I think they're the most complicated socks I've knit in a little while. So that's probably why. Look at them. Oh, I love that motif. I love the pattern. I'm super excited about these socks. And then I was going to talk about this later, but I'm going to talk about it now because whatever. It's my podcast and I'll talk about things in the order that I want. First, I want to show off my journal. So do you know what this is? This is knitted fabric from my Frankenstein socks. So I cut a chunk out of my Frankenstein socks. I was wearing them a couple weeks ago and I noticed that one of them had a hole in the back of the leg. Like here. Not by the heel where it would rub. And then I noticed that there was a similar hole in the back of the other leg. And they were not small holes. They were probably nickel-sized holes. I was like, how did that happen in both socks in the legs after a wearing? I must have been doing something. And I could have fixed them, but I was like, you know what? I think these socks are trying to tell me that it's time for me to give them up. Which is not bad. I know that I haven't had these as a finished object for a really long time, less than a year. But they were my favorite pair of socks this winter, and I would say that I easily wore them 40 times. I know that I was wearing them at least 3 nights a week to work. So they were in my shoes. I was walking around. I have a very active job, constantly moving, constantly. I don't sit down except on my break. So they got really hard wear. It's not like these socks blew out after 2 wears or something. I wore them a lot. And they're also 100% wool, not superwash, no nylon. And I didn't have to do a lot of repairs on the feet. Here's one repair on this one on the bottom of the foot, and then maybe one on the other also. No repairs on the bottom of this foot. So 1 repair on the bottom of the foot. So they held up pretty well. But anyway, they had the holes. So I decided I would weave a double-pointed needle through the socks to hold the 2 layers together. And then I did a running stitch, which I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I did a running stitch. Oh yeah, you can kind of see that. And then I just cut the fabric. And since I already know from here that the steeking felts together and is fine, I'm really not worried about that edge. I'll just wash the socks and it'll felt together and hold up fine. Anyway, I have given these socks to Gabriel. I put them on him, figured out how much I would have to take out of the back of the leg to make them fit his calves because, excuse me, his feet are long, but he is a beanpole. He is active all the time and super skinny, and he has awesome calf muscles, but they're much smaller than mine. So I took off this much fabric from the back of each sock, and I tried this on him, and it fits fine around his leg. He had to have me help him put it on because it's snug, but once it's on, it fits well, and I don't mind helping him put on these socks. That'll be fine. They are a little bit long. I could probably take off that much of the toe and have them fit him perfect right now, but I'm really not that worried about it. These are going to be winter-ish time socks anyway. They're too warm for summer. So by the time winter comes, his feet will have grown some more because he seems to grow a shoe size every 6 months. So his feet will be longer. And his boots are generally a skosh loose when we get them so that he can grow into them over the winter. So they should be fine. I had to fix another pair of socks this week too. The Raptor socks that I just finished, I am not sure how I managed, but I got a hole on the top of the foot on the front of the leg. The holes on these legs were on the back. What am I doing where I'm getting holes in the legs of my socks? Doesn't make any sense. So it wasn't that bad. I picked up the stitches on either side, and what happened was the string snapped on a stitch, and then it unraveled a few stitches, and then some stitches dropped down. Not a big deal. Grabbed the stitches, worked them back up to the center, and then I actually pulled out stitches on either side about 1/2 inch, and then I just re-Kitchenered and wove in the ends. I wore them to work last night, and the seam held, and it wasn't bothersome. I was a little worried that it would be uncomfortable because sometimes my Kitchenering is a little bit tight. I try to keep it loose, but every once in a while it's a little bit tight. So I was worried it was going to be tight, and it wasn't. I couldn't even tell after I had them on and had been wearing them for a while, I couldn't even tell which sock I had fixed last night, so that's good. I'm definitely planning on making, definitely planning on making another pair of Frankenstein socks because I love them so much. And I think I have a pretty substantial ball left of the yarn, definitely enough to get shorty socks out of it. So the pattern has you start with the cuff, then the leg, like you work down. I am going to start with the heels and toes and the foot, and then figure out how much I have for the cuffs and the legs. And the ace bandage section is going to be first also. And then I'll see what I have for the legs because I do have a ball left. And I really, really like this yarn. And I really, really like the feel of the Frankenstein socks with a few minor adjustments. So I wrote those in my knitting journal too. I put in like what I thought I would need to do for the neck socks to make them fit better because I told you that the ace bandage was a little bit snug. I think, or like that, the instep area, I think if I make the ace bandage a few more rows around, that will help with that. So I wrote that down. Yeah, so those will be happening maybe this year because apparently I can't stop knitting socks for myself, which is not a bad thing. It's about time, right? I haven't gone on a knitting socks for myself spree, I don't think ever. I think it's always been just one here and there. Anyway, works in progress. Let's talk about that. I have worked on, remember how I said things were going to get set aside? They did, and then I finished things. So almost everything that I cast on at the beginning of the month has become a work in progress now. Not everything. There's still one project that I'm not working on. Yeah, one that I cast on at the beginning of the month that I'm not working on. I am working on this right here, which is the Scaling the Stronghold cowl. I didn't put a stitch marker on last week, but I think I was here first round of the ribbing section, the first scale set. So I'm halfway through the third scale set. There's one more that's knit in the round after the third, and then it breaks and goes into working flat. The yarn is Gnome Acres in the House Gnome base in Gotham Knights. It is a yarn that I won from either the Tour de Fleece or the Ravelnik games in a group that I was part of, where not everybody, you didn't have to donate a prize in order to be part of the team, but a lot of the team donated at least one prize apiece, and some people donated 2 prizes apiece. That way people could win things, because it's exciting to win. So this is a cowl for my sister. It's my pattern. I designed it with 716 yarn for the Divergent Yarn Club that Lisa and I designed patterns for and Jenna dyed for. I also worked on the cross stitch. So the lighthouse is officially finished. This dark red color is officially finished stitch-wise. I don't have any more of that. The light red is almost finished, except down here where I haven't really started stitching, there is some grass with French knot flowers, which should be interesting because I don't have a ton of experience making French knots. I've made them before, but I remember it being kind of tricky. Like the first one turned out fabulously. And then the second and third ones were okay. So hopefully they'll turn out nice. I'm a little worried about it. If it doesn't work out, I'll figure out a different stitch that I can use to make those flowers. But yeah, the lighthouse is going pretty well. I am almost finished with this section over here. So there's a tree right here, and all I have to do is fill in the rest of the leaves, which come just over this house, and then do the branches. And I'm working it on a rotation for the colors. So I work all the way down the divided colors and then start at the beginning and work all the way down again. And I think today is a blue day. I'm not positive, but I think today I work on blue. We'll see. It's going really well. It's going really smooth. And Gabriel was asking if he could cross stitch on this with me. And I was like, not on this one, because this is mine and it's for somebody. But I totally have things to show you in a little while about Gabriel with cross stitch. I'm super excited. Actually, you know what? Can I just show you a work in progress of his right now? What's that you say? You would love to see his work in progress? Okay. I went to Joann's and I got some plastic mesh, like just one of those sheets. And then I cut it down, and this is Gabriel's first ever cross stitch. So this is what it is. And the pattern that he's using is that Christmas tree that I just did. So where is it? This Christmas tree. He is going to do it on this plastic mesh. I thought that would be good because then I wouldn't have to have a hoop for him. It's rigid enough that it's not going to bend and flex and go everywhere. And I could draw grid lines right on the plastic mesh and then wipe it off after. And he's using DMC floss, but instead of using just 2 strands at a time, sorry, there's going to be doors and dogs because it's summer and my kids are, even though I try to tell them, you chose outside, you stay outside, they're in and out getting drinks and snacks and stuff. And every time the door opens, my dog goes crazy. So I'll try to edit that out. But in case I forget, I'm just going to apologize right now for anything that doesn't get edited out, because I sometimes tune it out. And even when I'm editing, I might tune it out. Anyway, so he started working on this last night and he made it this far. And the only reason he stopped is because I was helping him figure out stitches and I looked at the wrong row, and he was supposed to stop here because there's a Christmas tree ornament right there, and I had him stitched to here, so then I had to unpick his stitches, and he was like, ugh, I'm done for now. So we'll see if he gets back to it. He probably will. If he sees me cross-stitching, he's going to want to cross-stitch, but right now I don't anticipate any of this happening today because, like I said, his BFFs are visiting their grandma, so they are just going to play all day until they leave. I also did a decent amount of spinning this week, so I'm going to try to show this to you without making a huge mess for myself. Here is my bobbin, still on the flyer because it's still attached. Here is what it looks like. So I made it through the first half of the braid because it goes all the way from this blue color down here for a really long time through the blue, and then there's a rainbow at the end of the section. So I've started the first of 4 of the second half of the braid because it's going to be a fractal, but it's going to be I wanted as much rainbow touching as much blue as possible, so there wouldn't be, I don't want huge sections of blue. Obviously blue is going to happen and that's fine, but I wanted rainbow to touch, I wanted there to be as much rainbow in the finished skein as possible. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm explaining that badly, but I think you understand. So yeah, I started the second half, which is good. I should be able to finish this by the end of the month without issue because it's about halfway through the month right now. I'm on the second half, and I spin a lot on my days off. I don't spin so much on the days that I work. So I'll be spinning a decent portion tonight. I'll probably get through this bump right here because I think I'm getting close to the end of the blue section. And once I hit the rainbow, I'm like, ooh, I need to spin all the colors. So I'm on track for that, for finishing it for the end of the month. The yarn is, or the fiber is Yarn Geek Fibers in the Rainbow Dashing colorway, and it's their BFL Sparkle base for that. And it is super, super nice. The prep is excellent. I'm not having to do any pre-drafting at all. The only prep that I did was to split it into the lengths for the fractal. So yeah, it's really, really nice. I will definitely be buying from them in the future. And I love it very much. It's going to be so pretty when it's finished. And I'm spinning it not super thin, but not super thick either. So we'll see what it becomes when it grows up. I think that I'm spinning it thicker now than I was at the beginning though. Whatever. It'll be fine. It'll be lovely however it turns out. I am also working on the Franken socks, which is knit using yarn from Haley, and I realized as I was setting up to record the podcast that I had made a mistake. It's fine. It'll be easy to fix. I forgot that, well, let me show you the socks first and then I'll tell you the mistake. So here is one sock, progress that I've made this week. I finished a color section and did another color section. And then here is the other sock with the progress that I've made for the week. And this is the yarn that I'll be using on both socks. Right now, they're both now attached to this one ball of yarn because I really, really like these colors. And I want to do 15 rounds on each sock of this. And it should be fine, but I'm a little bit worried that maybe it'll run out. So my mistake is that I was supposed to do an increase round on this sock 2 rounds ago for the first gusset increase. So not a big deal. I'll just go ahead and finish out this round, which is actually like the first round of tomorrow. So I'll finish out this round picking up the stitches that I should have made, and it'll be fine. I just forgot that the gusset was happening because I was working on these while we were swimming today. Yeah, so I am not sure how long I want to make these socks. I kind of want to make them as long as possible using these scraps from Haley, which won't be super long because I'm actually getting close to the end of this box of yarn from Haley. I think I have probably 6 or 7 more skeins or balls or leftovers or whatever to use. So I'm not sure if I want to make them super tall or if I want to make them into shorty socks, which would be kind of fitting because Haley wears short socks. And then I could also start wearing these socks immediately because I don't have very many pairs of short socks. And I really, really like short socks in the summertime. So what do you think? Should I make them super long or should I make them shorty socks and just make more Franken socks in the future that could be longer? I don't know. I'm still thinking. I'm just starting the gusset so I have some time because I only work 5 rounds on these socks a day. Let me know what you think. And you know what? I'm using project bags and I'm going to show you them. So the first project was in my beautiful bowl, which is from, let me find the tag because it's in the bowl. Nope, that's not it. Maybe I don't have it. Oh, I am a liar face. The bowl is not, the tag is not in the bowl. But anyway, there's my beautiful bowl and it has a little star cut out. And I love it. My cross stitch is not in a bag. But my Franken socks are in my pink tetrahedron Sewn by Lindsay project bag, which there's the tag. I don't know if you can see it. She's on Etsy, and my project bag is super duper loved because I don't carry my tetrahedron bags in other bags usually. I usually take them to work as my purses. So, or as my purse, take one, but on rotation. So yeah, those are my Franken socks in that bag. I also worked on Steve's quilt, which okay. So this is the top up here. And this week I put this next color sash, this one right here, all the way across. I don't think I had started it last week. I think I was finishing up the previous block row. So now I've started adding these blocks to the bottom. And at the end of the month, I'll put in a picture. I know I said I would put in a progress picture last month, but I didn't. I think it'll just be better if I put a before and after picture at the end of the month. But I have been working on it 2 strands, 2 lengths of thread a day, which is way more progress than it had been getting. So it's kind of exciting watching it grow. I'm sure that sounds silly, but like the progress is because the pieces, the blocks are so big, it's so much bigger by the end of a day, because 2 lengths is enough to sew more than 1 6-inch side. So a whole block gets attached plus something else. It's pretty exciting and pretty cool. I think that's all the things that I had active last week. Yes. So the other 2 projects that got brought into rotation, because I finished 2 projects, are the first is in this lovely project bag by Kitchen Counter Crafter. It is the super cute fox bag that was given to me to give away, and then I tried to give it away, but I loved it too much, so the winner said I could have it in exchange for something else, so I kept it. Anyway, and I'm using with this one of the handy needle minders that Judy sent me. I am making barely progress on this, but just enough. Made this much progress this week, so a orchid stripe and a black stripe on the partying it up and getting down sock pattern by Megan Williams. This is the Partying It Up version, and the base that I'm using, or the yarn that I'm using, is, what are you called? Vibra-Nymph Dye Works. I wanted to say 90% Knitting, which is her podcast, and I knew that wasn't the yarn brand. So Vibra-Nymph Dye Works. It's the Bounce Inversible, so it's sock base, and this sock is going to be the thick orchid thin black, and then the other sock is going to be thick black thin orchid stripes, and the chevron in the middle will be going in the opposite direction. I think the socks are going to be super cool. I am getting really close to the heel. I might be to the point of putting in the heel today, I think. I'm not going to put in the heel. I'm going to put in waste yarn for the heel because it calls for an afterthought heel. And I'm not sure if I want to do an afterthought heel, like a traditional afterthought heel, or if I want to do kind of like a Fish Lips Kiss heel afterthought style. I'm not sure, so I need to figure that out. But I'm going to do the heel in the contrasting color. So the heel will be in the thick black stripe, thin orchid stripe. I just think that'll look really cool on the heels to do the contrasting yarn as the heel. So that's my plan. So I'll be putting in the yarn for that. And I don't have the other half of the yarn wound into a ball yet. So I can't do the heel now. I can't just be like, oh, I'll do a Fish Lips Kiss heel and throw it in now. I could, but I'd have to wind the yarn first, and I'm not ready for that yet. So yeah, that's the sock, and these will work up super fast because they're It's a really ingenious pattern, but it's pretty simple. It's basically mindless knitting, which I enjoy right now. Obviously, I have a lot of mindless type projects right now. It's good because I have a lot going on with my kids right now. Anyway, which I'm really sorry. I've been saying anyway a lot this week. In my autumnal tetrahedron bag that Christina sent to me, I have my nephew's Christmas socks. These are being knit using this lovely needle minder from Judy. They are being knit with the Red Hots colorway from Lion Brand Sakis for the toes, and then the leg, this is where I was last week, the leg is in Marigold Jen sock base, merino nylon blend in the Yoshi colorway, and I am actually 2 rounds shy, see this? 2 rounds shy of finishing the stockinette section, so I will be starting the first ribbing section today. Yay, exciting! I'm going to use the same stitch, or not stitch, the same row counts as for Cecilia's socks, but these are, yeah, hers are definitely a 52 stitch sock, and these are 56. Because look at the difference in width. And I know that these are 56 stitch socks. So I'm just going to use the same row count because they come up halfway up my calves. So that should be fine for the boys lengthwise. And I am excited. I didn't realize I was so close to finishing the first section of these socks. Yay, that! And they'll just be the same sort of tube socks. I'm sure you're super excited that I'm making more tube socks. But hey, after this pair, I only have 2 more pairs to go for children tube socks, but then I might be making myself a pair of tube socks. Whatevs. Okay, so now modular projects. I put 3 more beads on my garland. These 2 right here, and this one right here. So it's making progress. It's not super exciting, but you know, progress is progress on that. And I'm getting closer to having it finished for Christmas. Are you proud of me? Because it's not even my recommended project of the month season that I'm supposed to be working on, and I still worked on it. I made another square on my my other needle minder from Judy because I was using it. I took this project with me with a partial square to knitting, and I have finished square number 35 and 36 on the blanket. I really wanted to put the square in my blanket so I could just continue using that yarn for hexapuffs, but I felt like I had too many self-striping squares in this row, so I just threw it over here on starting the 3rd quadrant of the blanket, just so I would have someplace else to put it and I wouldn't have to worry about trying to keep a little piece. Both of these yarns this week are yarns from Haley. So my blanket is getting so big. Not super big, but it's getting there. A square or 2 a week does make progress over, you know, an entire year. I also made a barn raising square. This is square number 78 using yarn from Haley. And then I did 9 hexapuffs this week. 2 green from Claire, a bunch with yarn from Haley. This is Haley yarn, this is Haley yarn. So yeah, 6 from Haley yarn. And then this is a celebratory puff using the very last little bit of the purple that I had left over from the string band hat, and then Claire had just a little tiny scrap ball that she gave me, which is this black color on the ridge side, and then it has this red and stuff on the back. And when I was knitting it, I was like, oh, I'm sad that that's not on the ridge side, but I don't actually like the red against the purple. I don't know why, so I'm glad that the side that will be on the right side of the blanket is black. Okay, so that is all the official knitting, but you should hang out definitely for a little while longer because I got such cool things this week. I received from Vicky of the Heartland Knits. I'm calling her out. I don't know if it's okay for me to call her out. I didn't ask her. She talked about it a little on her podcast, but didn't mention that it was me. She sent me she sent me her retreat goodie bag from the ZK as a hug because she missed me for not being there, which was just so nice. Like, I am emotional. It was just so nice. I went to my mailbox last week. It was Monday, so it was right after everybody was posting their oh, I'm getting home photos on Instagram and stuff. And actually, how it went was the mail truck pulled up and Gabriel was like, oh, Mom, the mailman's here, the mailman's here. And I was like, okay, well, wait. And then you can take the keys down to the end of the street and get in our post box. But wait until the mail person's gone so they can just do their job. Well, he didn't wait. He ran down there and checked the mail. And he came running in the door and he was like, Mom, I guess it was a lady that day. I told her my name and my address and she handed me this box for you. And I was like, what, a box? For me? Like, I know that I'm going to be getting a package from Haley at some point with some stuff from the ZK because, you know, your best friends, they take care of you. So I knew that was coming, but I was like, no way did she like priority ship that with 12-hour shipping or something. So I looked at the box and I looked at the return address and I was like, that looks really familiar, but I can't place it. And the tag for the shipping said it came from Rochester, Minnesota. And I was like, it's definitely someone from the ZK. I wonder what it is, because that is really fast turnaround. And so I opened the package and I had known what the goodie bags looked like because Josh and Haley showed me theirs. Sorry, brief child interlude, and I forgot where I was in the story. But I think that I was to the point where I opened the box and this was inside. And I was like, oh my gosh, someone sent me their goodie bag. So I opened the goodie bag and there were a bunch of goodies. And I was like, there's got to be a note. And so I dug around and I found the note from Vicky. And I was like, of course, that's Vicky's address. I knew that. I just couldn't like pick it up in my brain fast enough. So I am going to show you what is in the ZK goodie bag because I have one and it's all the things. She didn't just send me the bag or something. She sent me the entire, like, everything in it. So I didn't get to go to the ZK, so I didn't get to do this on my own on the podcast, but I really want to show you what came in the goodie bag, even though I wasn't there. And I'm going to try not to cry and stuff because I feel like I'm going to cry and stuff. So the bag is beautiful and it's from Silvershed USA. It's got a little pull tab and it says ZK 2016 on this tag. And the inside fabric is gorgeous. So inside was a little Tervis cup with a 2016 ZK badge and a straw. There was a box of mint meltaways that my children ate while I wasn't looking. I did get to try one, and then my children took them, and I didn't even know because they were sneaky and put it back in my bag, the box. I was looking for something in here this morning and realized at that point that my chocolates were gone. There is, sorry for the crinkles. There is a package of mini skeins, which are from the red to the pink. Cyborg's Craft Room, Spoonbridge, and the Cherry Bomb. The orange is Marigold Jen. Marigold, duh! Yellow is Another Crafty Girl. It's electric. The green is Leading Men Fiber Arts Yarnakuken. The bluish is Sun Valley Fibers Zombody's Feeling Blue. The purple is One Twisted Tree Retreat Portkey. And the pink speckly is Sophie's Toes Stardust. So, oh, they're so, so pretty. And I'm going to use them all in I'm going to make a project using them. But I'm probably going to wait because I was talking to Haley and Kira, who's Josh's sister, and usually my roommate when I go. Kira and I are roommates. She gave Haley her minis to send to me, so I'm going to have 2 sets of these minis, which is kind of perfect because I'll tell you in a minute why it's perfect. But so yeah, that's those minis were in there. And there is a reusable shopping bag from Amazing Threads, and I'm super, super excited about that because it will clip onto my keys or my bag, and I work at a grocery store, and I almost always buy something at the end of the night. Breakfast for the kids the next morning or something for dinner, because we do large grocery shopping trips, but like once a month to restock the pantry. I like to buy all of the perishable ingredients like the night before so that we have fresh stuff, and also so that we don't end up throwing things away, because if I'm like, oh, well, let's figure out meal stuff for a week, and I try to plan for a week, there's almost always something that gets thrown away because it goes bad because I forget about it that week, and then I find it the following week and it's yucky. So this will be perfect because I really dislike using plastic bags. I just really do. I always have. In high school and college, I always brought along reusable shopping bags. And, you know, as a grown-up, of course, too. But reusable bags, like the ones that you get at the grocery store, are not necessarily compact. And this is perfect. I just clipped it onto the bag that I'm carrying to work right now, which is this one. So I'm excited to put that into use. And there is this really nice Notions pouch that has 2 different zippered pockets. So in the front one is, right now there are business cards for people, for sponsors, and some of them have coupon codes and stuff. So I'm not going to show you all of those. But in the larger zipped up back portion, there is fiber wash and a needle gauge, which I can never have too many because I always seem to misplace them. There is a little Swatch Me sample, 10 yards, from Miss Babs. And this is the Cotadin. It's light fingering 100% BFL, which I haven't knit with this of her base before, but this is a colorway that I've had before. It's Prince, and I made Josh's Christmas socks out of this last year. So the 2014 Christmas socks, I think, were made out of this colorway. And then this is the thing that I was like, oh my Gosh, I love that so much. There are these cute little stork scissors, and I love little scissors. It has the carrying pouch so it won't stab through things, and it also has a little handle from the Silver Shed. So this is the bag maker, and she put this handle on these scissors, and I'm super duper excited about that. So I have thanked Vicky probably like 7 or 8 times. I don't know, maybe not that many, at least 5, but I feel like it's been more than that. But I have to say again, thank you so much, Vicky. It was so nice, and it meant so much. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm hugging this right now. It just meant a lot to it's so nice to hear that me missing the retreat had impact on other people. That sounds awful, doesn't it? Like, oh, I'm glad that you missed me. But I am, like, I deeply, sincerely missed the people that I didn't get to see this year. Like, yeah, it sucked that I didn't get to go and hang out in a hotel and just knit for a whole week and not have to clean or cook or take care of my kids or anything. Like, that part sucks. But really, the part that really bummed me out about not going to the ZK was not seeing the people who I really look forward to seeing every year. And it was just so nice to get this and like have that moment where I was like, people really wanted to see me there too. Like, I knew Josh and Haley were going to miss me, and Kira, and, you know, the people who I hang out with, like the people who sit at my table, who constantly sit at my table, I knew they would miss me. But like, I really missed that I was going to not see Vicky and some other people, and it was so nice of her to send me her project bag as a, hey, I missed you too. I need a moment to compose. Okay, the moment is up. So yes, I got that. And then Allison sent me a pattern, which is for the Curly Whirly by Ursa Major Knits, and they're socks, and they're modular, and they are written for long color repeat, or like long color change yarns. So like Noro, or what is that? Moshi Moshi, I think. Am I making that up? I don't know. But things that have long color changes in them. Or like a Zauber ball. I think that I am going to use the ZK minis and do the socks using those. But I'm going to wait until I get the minis from Kira, just so that I can make sure that I don't run out of yarn in awkward places on the socks color-wise. And then too, I also want to make a barn raising square that is a rainbow, and put a square in my blanket too from that yarn. Sorry. It's just so nice. It's just all so nice. And then, so Gabriel wants to cross stitch. That's awesome. So I went to Joann's, and I was like, okay, I need to find something for Gabriel so he can have a project. And I went and looked at kits, and right by the actual cross stitching, they had just little kits, but they were all really girly. Like all of the My First Cross Stitch things, there was a green and purple flower, a purple and pink cupcake, something that said Girls Rule, and one other design that was just girly. I can't remember what it was. Oh, a butterfly, a pink and something else butterfly, pink and blue maybe. And I was like, not that Gabriel is really anti-girly things, but where's the little boy cross stitch? So that's when I decided I would just get the canvas mat and he could make a Christmas tree, because that's something that he can make that I can then mount the same way I did my Christmas tree because Allison asked if I would do a tutorial. So it might be a long time coming, Allison, but I did plan so that I can show you how I finished off that. It'll be a bigger piece, but then we can hang it on our door, or he can hang it from his doorknob, or he can hang it up in his room or something. It'll be a good piece that will be good all the time, and it won't be like too little kid or something for when he grows up. I saw this. So they're really small little projects, and they actually come individually packaged in this bigger piece. So that will be really nice. But look at how cute they are. They look fairly simple, big sections of color, and then small detailing that will be good for hand-eye coordination. And they're cute, so we can use them as Christmas ornaments or whatever. I think that's going to be the plan so that they can be on the Christmas tree. And it's a 2-inch circle frame for the finishing. And if he doesn't end up sticking with the cross stitch, there are things that I will make and be fine with it. I really like the cat and the dog. I'm not really a big sock monkey person. I'm just not. It's not that I don't like them. They're fine. But some people really, really like sock monkeys, and I'm like, really? Okay. I don't hate it, but whatever. So if he doesn't end up stitching the Christmas tree, because I told him he had to finish the Christmas tree, and then he could pick out one of these, and he could pick out whichever one he wanted, but he had to finish the Christmas tree first. So if he finishes the Christmas tree, then he'll be working on these. And if not, then I'll be working on these someday. He also got some stash from Lorraine. Last week, he went with me to knitting, and we were talking. I was working on hexapuffs for his blanket, and he was like, Mom, what if you made a giant hexapuff? And I was like, then we would have a giant hexapuff. And he was like, Mom, will you make a giant hexapuff? And I was like, not out of sock weight yarn. Not happening. And I said, but maybe we can get some yarn and you can make a giant hexapuff. And Lorraine was like, well, she has 3 full skeins of each of these and then partial skeins of a couple of these colors. So we have 9 skeins of this yarn, which she picked up from Tuesday morning at 60% off regular price. And it is a wool acrylic, 70 wool, 30 acrylic blend. Does it have colorways on here? Let's see. This is teal, burgundy, and hunter green, which is not super green. It's really kind of brown, but I guess you can see that it's kind of green. And we are going to make a big hexapuff that he can use as a pillow or something. I'm going to cast that on maybe today for him. Just get it started so that when he feels like knitting, or if he goes to knitting group with me, he now will have his very own, distinctly his own knitting project. And he'll have his very own cross stitch project, and we'll take coloring books. So he'll have 3 things to do for the 2.5 hours we're there, which is about as many projects as I need for the 2.5 hours. So that should be good. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about his hexapuff, and I'm pretty excited that he's interested in crafting. Hopefully it keeps up. Reading wise, I am almost finished with Daughter of the Blood, which I think I had just started last week. I think I was 100 pages in last week, and I have maybe 18 pages to go. I'm super close to finishing it. I was going to finish it last night, and then I fell asleep while reading. I only had 40 pages to go when I laid down for the night, and I was like, oh yeah, I should be able to get through this. No, I didn't, but I'm going to finish it while this is processing, actually. And then I'm not sure what I'm starting next. Probably whatever library book I have on my shelf, because I only have one book out from the library. And I don't even remember what it is other than that Jilly from the Knitting Broomstick loves it. So I was like, okay, I'll try that series. And I got it out from the library a little over a week ago, so I should probably start reading it because the rentals are only 3 weeks. I mean, I'll be able to renew the checkout, but I should probably start reading it instead of just keeping it on my shelf. So that'll probably be next. And I'm listening to Fragile Things in the car, which I mentioned before, but I do a lot of my listening at night or when it's dark, which I guess is at night. So I guess I didn't need to say or. Most of my listening is when it's dark, and a lot of the stories on here are ghost stories or similar scary-ish stories. Why do I do this to myself? Because it'll get to a point and I'll be like, nope, stopping this. I'll listen to it next time I'm driving in the car and it's light out. So I've started disc 4 out of disc 9, and it's going pretty well. And the last thing I have for you this week is a podcast recommendation. I watched all of the Charlotte and Gus episodes. It's on YouTube. It'll be linked in the show notes. And it's called Charlotte and Gus. Charlotte is the main host. She is a knitter. She is living in Paris. And she's just really adorable. She is early 20s. Just go watch her. She's cute. And Gus is the second co-host, and he is Charlotte's cat. And he sleeps in a box on the shelf behind her for every podcast. So yeah, that's just fun. Go check them out. And that is all I have for you this week. I hope you made something fantastic with your 6 and string, and I will see you next week. Bye!